So I bought a new TV the other day. I plugged in my Xbox 360. I just figured, screw it. Let's just see who's on. Let's see what this looks like now, because it feels like visiting your old house. So I popped open the friends list, and I wanted to see who was still around. I wanted to see who was available, or just see what this prehistoric site looked like. I think the average account said last online 2,800 days ago. It's definitely a graveyard. But if you were part of that 2010, 2016, like that era there, back with teams like FaZe or Soar, it's not just a bunch of names. It's honestly like a map of your childhood, and it feels like going back in your old conversations on your phone and seeing who you used to call or who you used to text. I mean, like, damn, like the memories of being up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., where the biggest problem in your life is probably losing like a gun streak or not getting a nuclear on Black Ops 2 hijacked. You guys know the days. I would do anything to go back to those days. And it's crazy because it coincides with IRL friends, like people that you would play with all the time, and your gaming friends all just being MIA. It's like they're dead. They're gone. I mean, I'm blessed enough that most of my IRL friends still play video games, but a lot of the people from that era, I grew up being a YouTuber. I was a YouTuber for 10 years, growing my channel. So many of those names are just gone. The entire friends list is gray. If you're like me, like standing in this digital ghost town, it feels weird. Like, it feels heavy. It feels like everybody moved on and just forgot to tell you when that was going to happen. It's just all of a sudden one day, you didn't realize it, but you were playing Team Deathmatch on Black Ops 2, and that was going to be the last time that you ever hopped in an Xbox Live party. I feel like I'm starting to wonder, and maybe you guys are like me, if I'm the only one who still cares about this, if I'm the only one who feels this deep level of nostalgia. For some reason, I've been at work, I work in accounting, and I've just been watching old Call of Duty content from all the way back then. I'm talking the Woody's Gamertag videos. I'm talking White Boys 7th Street. I'm talking all that stuff. T. Martin, for example. And I'm so nostalgic for it that it almost makes my heart hurt. Like, I feel like a tension in my chest. Because I think we're all, or at least people like me, are mourning a version of ourselves that we're not allowed to be anymore. It's true. It's like, bro, move on. You're pushing 30. I'm a 27-year-old man. The fact that I'm watching old Call of Duty videos or old gaming videos from when I was 13, 14, 15, like in that era, it feels weird because it feels like I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do. Our parents could listen to Guns N' Roses, AC/DC all they want, but I want to go back and relive that childhood memory, and it's like weird. It's taboo. And I guess the final confirmation was seeing everybody else has moved on. Nobody's playing their Xbox, and just made me feel weird. I mean, like, there's no other way to put it. I'm looking at that list and I feel a specific type of grief. It's the realization that the golden age didn't just end. It's actually extinct. And, we spent years, I spent a decade in my childhood bedroom making Call of Duty videos, thinking that if I kept grinding, if I just stayed relevant or consistent, that Xbox Live party would stay full forever and I'd be a famous YouTuber or a famous Twitch streamer. And, well, like I said, I'm sitting in the accounting, just banging my head away at Excel sheets. And I'm happy with my job, I'm happy with my career, and I'm so happy with my life, but there is a piece missing that can only be filled by, well, untapped potential and a lot of nostalgia. Life has a way of adding friction to everything you love, because you feel behind because you see everybody else's last online date and you realize they found something else to do. They found something better to do. They found a different game. And for a long time, I sat in my room or sat in my living room and I was bitter about it. I was thinking like, oh my God, like I just wish that this was viable. I wish that this was something that we could all keep doing. It was so fun. It was amazing. We didn't know what we had. It feels like they sold out. You probably have lots of friends who have a girlfriend or have a job or have a kid. God forbid they have a kid. Probably feels like they sold out. They sold their soul to the devil and now they're out living some type of LARPing of a grown man. Meanwhile, you're sitting here still feeling like a kid. But that mental process is honestly a trap and you should not fall into it. We think because the light went out and the person did too. But they didn't. They didn't leave because they stopped liking video games. They didn't leave because they stopped liking talking to you. They left because their life got loud and they had to silence that. Think about your old duo that you used to game with or make YouTube videos with. One of them got that entry-level job where the 6 a.m. alarm is genuinely a threat to their stability. If they own a house, if they have kids, they gotta get up, and they can't stay up late playing video games with you because you haven't taken the next train to your future. You got friends that got married probably. You got friends that moved across the country. I'm just talking from my perspective. This is where I'm at. And their brain chemistry seems to have changed. The dopamine they used to get from a 30 bomb on raid, well, now they get from finishing a project at work, or finally getting their kid to sleep, or just genuinely getting to relax with an IPA. Could you really blame them? You'd be in the same spot if you were them. It hurts to hear that because it confirms that season of life is over. But before we get too depressed about it, it's good to look at the other side of the coin. I look at myself and I'm standing on the other side of that hill now. I'm not in the childhood bedroom anymore. I own my house where I live. I have a live-in girlfriend who's in the other room right now sleeping. I have a life that's by all definitions very stable. And for a long time, I was afraid of that. I remember I did a Twitch live stream where I told my friend, if I don't make it as a YouTuber, then I may as well not be alive. Crazy talk now, because look at my life. I'm standing here today and I'm sad. I'm nostalgic looking at this graveyard friend list from the kitchen of the house that I own. I realize my friends or YouTube friends or anybody around me, they didn't sell out. They just finish that level when they're on to the next thing in life, and that's going to happen to you too. And if your friends list is a graveyard like mine, it's a sign that era worked. It served its purpose. It was a shelter for us when we were kids, just trying to have fun, trying to figure out who we were, but you're not meant to live in a shelter forever. And eventually the storm stops and you got to go outside and build something for yourself, build some type of life. Nostalgia can feel like a beacon of light or like a lighthouse. It's great to look at. It's great to think about. It's a great reference points to see where you've been, and what highlights you can think of in your current. But if you try to live in the lighthouse, you're just going to end up isolated. You're going to end up lonely. And you got to move inland to a life that is full of warmth and fruitful. So I always try to have a positive takeaway in these moments, because the nostalgia can definitely hurt. So the lesson that I picked up is, just because the lobby's empty or the friends list is empty, it doesn't mean that the friendships are dead. You just got to meet them where they are now. Your old squad might not have, 4 hours, 5 hours a night to grind, search, and destroy like they used to. They probably don't. But they have 20 minutes while they're on their lunch break. They have 30 minutes after the wife goes to bed. They put their kids to bed. They might have an hour. You never know. I know I do. I don't have kids yet, but, I have a good 2 hours to myself at night. So if you feel lonely, stop waiting for the green light on Xbox or Discord or what have you. Hop on Discord, send a text. Don't ask them to play. Just ask them how their job's going, how they're doing, and ask them how their house is or how their life is or how their kids are. And talk to them as the adults that you've both become, even if you feel like maybe that you're almost LARPing as an adult in that moment. You are an adult. Like if you're 25, you're 22, you're 24, you're 30, you are an adult. You'll be surprised how fast that gamer soul comes back out when they feel seen as a person. You might not get the 4-hour session back, but you're going to get some type of a connection back. And that's what we're actually missing. The game is the medium. The connection is the feeling. So I don't know. I definitely recommend cherishing the season that you're in right now. If you're lucky enough to still have a squad that gets on the game like I do, realize that you're in the good old days right now. Take the screenshots, record the stupid trash talk, record the gameplay, do what you want, because one day you'll be the one looking at the Discord graveyard, realizing like, oh my god, I was nostalgic over Xbox 360, should have just stuck here with my PS5 and enjoyed it. And also, try to forgive your friends or try to soften the sadness or nostalgia you feel for them growing up. Nobody's abandoning you. They're just surviving their own life, just like they were back then. And if you're still in the lobby, don't feel crappy about it. Just realize that your exit is coming too at some point, and that's a good thing when it comes to you. You've got a roof over your head, a person who loves you, and a mind that isn't constantly racing, and it's on its way to you. And honestly, that's probably like the ultimate flex of 2026. Your friend list is a graveyard because everybody made it out. They survived that era. And if you're watching this, it's time for you to start building your own after picture too, while paying homage to the past. The view is a lot better out here, I promise.